1, 2, 3, 4.
Screen time, screen time, screen time, screen time.
It's my screen time too.
Screen time.
Hello, and welcome to It's My Screen Time Too, the podcast where we review the programming the other critics ignore. Stuff made for kids. Find out what to watch for family movie night, what to avoid altogether, and what you'll want to watch alone voluntarily. I'm Katie.
And I'm Deborah.
And I have two kids, ages 9 and 6.
And I have 3 kids who are 14, 11, and 11.
Welcome to a Screen Time in the News episode for the week of October 30th, 2024.
Today we are discussing an article titled, TikTok Executives Know About App's Effect on Teens, Lawsuit Documents Allege. Published by National Public Radio on October 11th, 2024 by Bobby Allen, Sylvia Goodman, and Dana Kerr. I heard this story, or part of a version of this story, on NPR a few weeks ago, and it really made me interested to go back and read the whole thing, because on its face, it's interesting and relevant. Obviously, TikTok is bad for teens and tweens. I don't think anybody needs to actually conduct research about that issue in order to see that it's harmful to the youth. But there's quite a lot more going on here because there's this lawsuit now about TikTok, which is fascinating because of the internal company documents that prove that TikTok executives knew about the platform's addictiveness and potential harm to the youth of the world. And then additionally, there's the fact that the Kentucky Attorney General's office made an administrative error that turned redacted material public, and this information was supposed to be a secret. I'm reading right from the article here. In each of the separate lawsuits state regulators filed, dozens of internal communications, documents, and research data were redacted, blacked out from public view, since authorities entered into confidentiality agreements with TikTok. But in one of the lawsuits filed by the Kentucky Attorney General's office, the redactions were faulty. This was revealed when Kentucky Public Radio copied and pasted excerpts of the redacted material, bringing to light some 30 pages of documents that had been kept secret. My concerns here are twofold. One, TikTok is bad. And two, we as a society on a whole are totally lacking in basic computer fluency.
I love that this is what you picked up. Okay, say more.
Yeah.
I love that this is your bugbear about this.
I hate Chromebooks in schools. I don't think they're helpful. I think they're maybe a tool that should be like a sometimes tool. Just like a cookie is a sometimes food. They shouldn't be carried around by kids all day long. My hope for the world, that is a dying hope, is that children will learn basic cursive penmanship and QWERTY typing skills. I think that this copy and paste problem is illustrative of the need for basic IT literacy, both in schools and in on-the-job training for young people who are starting out in careers, but also for people our age and for boomers who are still working in offices and the technology has changed. Everybody could use like an update.
Deborah, have you ever electronically redacted a document?
No, I know there's like a blackout feature in Microsoft Word. I haven't played around with it myself. But I assume it's just something that you can like Control-Z undo.
Yeah, and I did it for the first time myself fairly recently, like within the past 6 months. And I was using an Adobe program, I think Acrobat, to do it. But it was similar, like I blacked it out. To me, looking at it, it appeared to be blacked out. But if I like copied the entire paragraph and pasted it somewhere else, the blackout went away. So I had to go through like several additional steps to make it be actually redacted. And had I not been like my natural paranoid self and been like, I wonder what happens if I copy this whole paragraph to test it out, I would never have known. Like I can totally see just looking at it and being like, that looks black. Let's move on.
Yeah, and this probably goes back to the days when legal documents were like printed out and filed away, and you were dealing with the printed copies. So if something was redacted, it was just redacted because it's in its print version. and you can't go back and edit the electronic version because that doesn't exist because it was made on like a typewriter and blacked out with like a marker. But because the technology has changed, see, I assumed that maybe lawyers had like special software that redacted things completely, but I don't think they do.
But also, like, they've probably redacted things before. So you're right. They should have caught this. Was it a temp or like how? I don't know.
Yeah, or was it somebody who's been doing this for 20 years and like it's just never come up?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this is not like a new thing. This happened in 2019 in a pretty big national news story related to Paul Manafort, that old crooked lobbyist, and FBI documents. And I'm sure this happens all the time in like lesser publicized ways that we just don't hear about.
Right.
Okay, so going back to the TikTok, do you have TikTok?
I do not. I downloaded the app onto my phone, but I stopped when they were like, please make a profile because I was just like wanting to do like a looky-loo and see what it was. So it exists, but I do not have a profile. I cannot view anything. It is a little bit frustrating because I will often have friends text me a link to a TikTok to be like, I think you'll think
Yeah.
this is funny. And I cannot view it. I can't just like casually click on it and view it without a profile, which is frustrating. But I still have not made one. So I guess I am strong and brave. You're welcome. How about you? Do you have a TikTok?
I think my kids basically watch TikTok videos in the form of YouTube shorts, which are, I think it's just a way of repurposing TikTok content. I wish I could get onto Book Talk. I think I would really enjoy that. But anything that like the US military is like, don't download. I think that's good advice. And I don't know, this whole thing makes me never want to let my kids get it because it sounds so bad. And then I was like, I'm not going to get into something that's just going to be banned, but it sounds like they have until January. They could still divest from the Chinese company that owns TikTok. So maybe it won't really be banned.
You think that's going to be successful? Like, it's been a while since it's been the top of the news cycle, this whole lawsuit and them having to divest. But the concern, last I casually looked in on it, was that if they divest from ByteDance, they won't have the algorithm. And the whole thing that makes TikTok TikTok is this algorithm.
Which maybe might be good. Here's some more from that article about the addictiveness of TikTok. As TikTok's 170 million US users can attest, the platform's hyper-personalized algorithm can be so engaging it becomes difficult to close the app. TikTok determined the precise amount of viewing it takes for someone to form a habit, 260 videos. After that, according to state investigators, a user is likely to become addicted to the platform. Here's from the previously redacted portion of the suit. While this may seem substantial, TikTok videos can be as short as 8 seconds and are played for viewers in rapid-fire succession automatically. Thus, in under 35 minutes, an average user is likely to become addicted to the platform. So it's like the fentanyl of social media. It's really bad.
Terrifying. 35 minutes. Like, you blink and that's over.
Yeah, and there was so much other bad stuff in that article. Something called filter bubbles, which like send you down things like thinspo videos that like are bad for people with eating disorders, or like suicide videos for people who are depressed, media blackout strategies about like kids who die because of TikTok challenges, little kids stripping, like removing their clothes in exchange for digital currency. There's something that is like a beauty filter, and the algorithm demotes unattractive people and shows more attractive, conventionally attractive creators, which that seemed like aren't all social media isn't also social media doing that. That one was not surprising to me.
Yeah.
Just the spiral of disinformation, which also is not new or unique to TikTok.
Yeah, there were definitely some of these things that felt very of a piece. Like, we are also in the midst of a media blitz from Instagram about their new teen safety features and how they're implementing new safeguards to keep kids under 16 from being able to create accounts. But no matter how often I hear it, the completely brazen nature of these companies' lack of concern for the effects of these apps on kids and teens just continues to be breathtaking. Like, it's all a marketing ploy. These supposed efforts to place screen time limits on the use of TikTok, they knew that it reduced usage by a whopping 1.5 minutes. And yet they built an aggressive PR campaign about how good they were to take these safeguards. It's just capitalism, man.
Yeah, it's really hard. And I want to focus on how to correctly redact sensitive information, which I think is just a way of me ostriching my head into the proverbial sand.
This is also the part that would help TikTok. So, like, don't be in favor of that. I like to think of myself as someone who does not pass a lot of judgment on other people's parenting styles because, it's difficult for everyone. We all make different choices. We talk about this a lot. But I definitely had a moment of sanctimony when I was reading this article and I read about the service that TikTok has for users under 13. It exists and people actually opt in to allow their children under the age of 13 to get their own TikTok account. And I was just like, that's gross. No, if you are doing that, I am judging you.
Yeah, is that for them to create their own videos or to watch videos?
It did not specify, and it said that there were supposedly content filters to protect them. But yeah, I mean, we all know about YouTube Kids too. So
yeah, because I feel like I am letting my kids watch a lot of TikTok because they really like these YouTube shorts, which is kind of the same thing as letting them have, I'm not going to let them have the baby TikTok account themselves, but I feel like they're getting all of that content anyway. That's what they want to watch. And it's kind of the cult. I mean, their friends watch it. They talk about it with friends. I don't know.
You're right. No, I have noticed because I'm still super strict with my kids in YouTube, but even my approved list of creators, they're no longer making 5-minute, 7-minute, 20-minute videos. They are making shorts, which I find annoying because they never give me the information or the content that I want because I would prefer the longer form explanation. But as we're scrolling through them, it's shorts, and you have to work hard to find a longer form video. You're right.
Okay. Do you yourself have any tech addictions?
I mean, anything I admit to is going to make me seem old. I've pretty effectively cut out social media, but I do have occasional short and intense addictions to specific game apps. So the June's Journey, it's a puzzle mystery solving app and it's very silly, but I find myself playing it for long periods of time. But then I rein myself in and I say, this is getting out of control. I just have to delete the app and move on. So it's short and intense bursts of addiction that I at least am able to realize exist and can pull myself back from. How about you?
I would say my main tech addiction right now is Zillow.
Oh, yeah.
It's a time suck and it's a fun one. I don't want to delete it. Don't make me delete it, Katie.
No, I never would. Did you see that SNL short or SNL skit from during the pandemic? And it was all about how grown-ups were turning to Zillow as Zillow was porn. So I had the voiceover with the sultry the sultry tones, but it was actually Zillow. I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, totally. That would be probably my main tech addiction at the moment. Any other thoughts on TikTok, redactions?
Just that I continue to be terrified about social media and my children, and I feel like I'm standing on some sort of precipice. And my lack of careful preparation is going to come back to bite me very soon. But for now, we're like in this blissfully, we're not there yet phase, and I am very grateful. How about you?
Mm-hmm.
We're just both making sad faces at one another right now.
Yeah, listeners, if you have anything to add to our TikTok discussion or IT literacy discussion, let us know. We'd love to hear from you.
Please do. Do we have time for some general catch up about what we're watching?
I think so.
All right, well, tell me what your kids are watching. What YouTube shorts are really grabbing their attention for 8 seconds? And or what are you watching with them?
Okay, so we gave up on Survivor after John Lovett's
ouster
elimination. We tried a couple more episodes and just couldn't get into it. So recently premiered on, what is it, CBS? I don't know, is a Young Sheldon spinoff called Georgie and Mandie's First Marriage. And I got like weirdly inundated with podcast advertisements for this.
Wow.
Sometimes my podcast ads are like oddly on the mark because I was like, yeah, I want to know about this show. My child loves the Young Sheldon metaverse. So that's gonna be like Libby's and my show to watch. And it was like a multicam sitcom, super cheesy, but fun.
I love it. I love that we're steering into the skid and we're like, not only are we pro professionally produced content, we are CBS all the way, baby. Give us the classics. That's what we want.
Yeah, I don't even want to tell Jeremy this, but I'm kind of interested in that Kathy Bates. Like she's Matlock.
Matlock,
like
yes. I mean, it's Kathy Bates.
Yeah.
How could we not be interested?
Yeah. And then the last thing we're watching is we're gonna rent Wild Robot on the TV and watch it for an old pandemic style family movie night.
I think that's going to have to be how we watch it too, just because I don't want to cry that much in a theater. I want the option of loudly getting up and being like, I need to make some popcorn. I can't possibly be paying attention to this emotionally resonant moment. Gotta clatter some dishes. We've mostly just been watching Curses. Like, it's been really fun. We've been enjoying it as a family. So we reviewed that on our last episode, listeners. So if you haven't heard that one yet, jump back and hear our thoughts on that Apple TV Plus show. My kids, independent of me, have been watching the Camp Cretaceous show on Netflix, which is a kids Jurassic Park cartoon show. It started a long time ago, I don't know, 5 years ago or whatever. And they had a season that was interactive. You remember back when we were like, ooh, what is the future of interactive children's programming?
Yeah.
So they have that one weird interactive season, and then there have been subsequent seasons. And now there have been a couple seasons where like the kids are all grown up and they're like teen/young adults. So they've been watching that a little bit too. I don't think they enjoy it as much as when the kids were actual kids. But as we know from the Jurassic Park/Jurassic World franchise, like you got to find some way to keep these kids going back to the island or whatever. So that has been what they are enjoying. What about your grown-up watch list?
We are finishing up Murders in the Building. Jeremy likes that a little more than I do, but I'm really looking forward to watching Slow Horses when we finish up the Steve Martin show.
Is
Only
Slow
Murders
Horses the 4th season coming out? Is that accurate?
3rd or 4th.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. Have you watched it?
It is actually on my list too. Last time we spoke, we hadn't watched it and it had been on my watch list for forever. So we finally started it. We are just coming up on the end of the 1st season, and you and everyone else on the planet is right. This is an amazing show and I am really enjoying it. Very happy that we have seasons ahead of us to consume. So that's great.
Nice.
We also started the new Disney Plus show, Agatha All Along. And I know,
is that with Catherine Hahn?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know, Deborah, you've happily given like the wider Marvel Cinematic Universe a pass, whereas I have still felt like I need to keep trudging along this path, or perhaps more apt, I need to keep walking this road. And I have usually found it to be a tiresome slog, but I am actually really enjoying this show, which should be no shock because Catherine Hahn is involved. It also stars, and I'm going to blank on his name, but have you watched the Netflix series Heartstopper?
No.
Okay, so it's a very popular series starring this incredibly charming British boy, but he is also the co-star of Agatha All Along, but with an American accent, which really made me nervous at first. But he's doing great, and this show is
good.
very fun, and it's giving me some hope for Marvel and Marvel's future. So that's been fun.
Nice. Thanks for listening to this episode of Screen Time in the News on. Oh my gosh. Thanks for listening to this Screen Time in the News episode. If you enjoyed our show today, please recommend the show to one friend you think would enjoy it too. We love growing our community of parents for sanity and screen time. Never want to miss our up-to-the-minute thoughts about screen time? Well, you can head over to our website at myscreentime2.com and subscribe to our updates. Tune in next time for more real talk about the movies and TV we watch with our kids because we have to and sometimes because we like to. Bye.
Bye.
Screen time.